Welcome to a world lost by peace. Today we look at the northern continent of Europe. Much has changed, yet much has yet to be still changed. Russia fell to a major discommunication. Putin in 2025 declared war on NATO, now which spans most of the land. He fell with his country. First they lost the lands in Ukraine. Belarus fell shortly after, and Finland managed to gain all the land. Leningrad decided to take its own independence by force. Multiple tons of rebellions came, and the Chechen Republic started it all. In 2026, the Russian Federation fell, and instead came the new nation of Free Russia. Today we're looking at the conflict that takes place over here. Ukraine has since gained more land. It has taken over the entrance to this lake, seaport, and it has taken some land up north. A piece of, war from Belarus that it gained was this land, which this nation now, known as the Communist Republic of Belarus, now claims. First they started by declaring that all of this land above this line is theirs. Ukrainian lands declared that anything above this line is theirs. Not but you get it below. And they started to call in their allies, the communists. They first called in their Baltic brother, the Belarusian incarnate of the Baltics. They tried to manage their situation by claiming these lands as unlawfully occupied. Ukraine and NATO responded with a firm nod to each other and declared this is all but a legitimate error in the communist thought process. Soon we do see many parts of communist Belarus declare independence. The first part is this part. They wanted to change from a long time ago. They decided that they would ultimately take that change. We have the first conflict beginning. I have to kind of do some stuff. The Republic of Belarus, this nation, sends volunteers to help the border areas of the lands. The first, as volunteers, help liberate a few villages, but it does not do much. Soon they manage to go across almost the whole northern border. Then a surprising and shocking event happens. In the capital, near it, at least, this area decides to declare its open rebellion and decides to declare the Belarusian Ukrainian Khanate to be anew. This part of Belarus highly supports this land to be taken, as it didn't see after the war any need to retake it. Volunteer forces started to pop up all over in communist Belarus, and slowly its communist ally, northern Belarus, decided to help by sending over troops from its border. They first managed to take a few lands before being pushed back out, mostly in this pocket, which then managed to link up with Lithuania. Lithuania sent out its volunteer troops, and it managed to retake a lot of land that formerly tried to rise up. Slowly but surely, forces from the volunteer groups and the rebels started to move out. Many of them started to connect themselves over to foreign or known borders. These foreign borders then allowed for volunteer troops to arrive. Eventually, we see most of the southeastern part being taken over. Southeastern part of Communist Belarus. Communist Belarus tries to retake this land by force, but it only manages to take a bit. Then a large encirclement wipes out many divisions over here, causing a lack of divisions, and that managed to help cut off another part of Belarus. This time, the link up is successful, and a counterforce managed to deny a connection in the northern parts. This connection seemed to work until the volunteer forces managed to retake the lands and expand. Eventually, it was seen that volunteer troops came from all sides and from already occupied parts of Belarus. Over here, this division that was holding out and a few other platoons from other divisions that were pushed over here declared that they are surrendering. Communist Belarus declared them traitors of the state, causing massive uprisings. One of the most notable to be over here, known as the Western Rebellion. The Western Rebellion seeks to unify with Poland due to some unknown reason. No nation does know of why it has happened this way, but due to this extra front popping up out of nowhere, new troops that were arriving to help contain these fronts were diverted, causing massive gaps in the enemy front lines. The rebellions managed to push very far and link up in two spots, cutting off Belarus in many areas. Over here, the northern parts declare openly that they will not continue this war in their lands. They declare that they are surrendering. The western part over here only declares surrender after many other regions start to be surrounded. While the most the most unruly part of Belarus declares its fall after some time. Now we'll see how the war has gone. Slowly, we do see parts of the world trying to get a small say in the votes, but this doesn't work. The first solid border that is made is the Republic of the Ukrainian Belarusian Khanate, who now are just a city state. They are a notable part of the world, but they don't do much. This part of the rebellion still decided to give up on its and it tries to reform the nation, and it has successfully been given over to Poland. The rest of the rebellion decides to allow the Belarusian Communist Party to live, but only under a puppet regime. This puppet regime only dictates how they do stuff. We have our second conflict in the south of Africa. Due to the civil war of Botswana in 2026 that happened due to unknown causes and a general lack of public support, the nation fell apart. Many parts of this nation were given over, such as over here and over here. They did gain only a few small pieces while giving up the rest that they didn't have. We do see a large part of this nation having a small but noticeable border disagreement. This nation over here, called Western Botswana, not known as the Western Botswana Republic, but as just Western Botswana, has a small exclave over here. It declares independence and shortly after is united with this nation over here. I don't remember what this was. This is northern South Africa, or NSA. The NSA decides to support this nation. It sends over many supplies to help regain supply routes through the western Botswana state. But something goes wrong. Over a few times it seemed that smugglers have appeared. Western Botswana starts to see its ally in a different light. After a bit of time, it seemed that it's more likely that these guys will invade this nation. The NSA does say that it seeks to unify the Botswanan state under a new flag. This is believed to be a hoax, as it has and is known to have one exclave in northern Botswana. This conflict sees only limited fighting and only this part. For NSA troops manage to link up with whatever troops they may see or hear. It's known generally that only a small part of Botswana only, and I mean only, likes to be unified. Northern Botswana declares that it won't allow this and sends troops through this border. Troops that are sent here cannot move through the NSA due to many prepared fortifications. But notably, the only times that we do see the NSA move through Northern Botswana is only over here. Northern Botswana tries to hang on to these lands, trying to push out the NSA, but this only results in more pushback. Eventually, we do see the fall of this panhandle. As the line is stated, no nation, and I mean no nation, shall seize any land except for what they have been given. It is decided to give more land than promised over to the NSA. The NSA managed to get a bit more land. Where this conflict has been resolved for now, the Northern Botswanan state has and will state a claim on these lands. It will now be known as the disputed claim of 2029. Disclaimer: this series is an alternative future to this current timeline. New nations like the Siberian Union and the Republic will have significant populations, but they cannot go to war yet. In future episodes, we may see this possibility. Notable nations that haven't or will change in the future are Canada, Mexico, Venezuela, Brazil, Argentina, civil warist Uruguay, Paraguay, and the United States. On the eastern side of the map, we see Australia, Indonesia, and India having the same possibilities. I thank you all for joining. Have a great day.